Paulsboro High School, the Gloucester County Educational Network, Channel 5 presents high school football with the host Paulsboro Red Raiders against the Woodbury Thundering Herd. Hello everybody, I'm Marc Narducci along with Shawn, Leary, in what should be an outstanding matchup between these longtime Colonial Conference rivals. If you remember last year, they opened with one another, and Paulsboro opened with a 12-7 victory, and Shawn winning the conference based on that win, and everyone thinks that this might be the unofficial conference championship as well.
Well, you're looking at two teams who don't typically lose in September unless they're playing against one another. Both of them have a loss already on the schedule. Paulsboro losing to Sterling earlier in the year, and then Woodbury losing to West Deptford, a good West Deptford team. So yeah, that kind of set the mark last year. When these two teams play against one another, typically that's the deciding factor who's going to win the division. This year it's a little bit different. Little things are wide open, you know, not only the conference, but also you look at Group 1, which both teams are in. So this is an interesting early season matchup with both teams having a loss coming into this game.
Yeah, and both losses were in the Liberty division, so it won't count on the conference schedule, and both losses are to Group 2 schools as well, especially as a vastly improved Sterling team, and we know about West Deptford's power. Well, when you talk about Woodbury, they have one of the most electrifying players, not only in South Jersey, not only in the state, but in the country. The University of Alabama recruit, Anthony Averett, the quarterback defensive back.
Well, you think about some of the heavy recruits that we've had here in Gloucester County. You think back to Mike Kerner going to LSU, somebody who's going to a high-profile school. This is that type of kid. He's going to Alabama. So there's a lot of expectations on Anthony's shoulders, but he lives up to them. What he does so well is he's able to create. He has great field vision, but one of the things he's been able to accomplish over the last year is he's become a better quarterback. He's being able to throw the ball. He didn't start passing the ball until really his sophomore season, where he had to throw the ball for the first time. He's worked on his mechanics. He's worked on becoming a better quarterback all around. So not only has the ability to create, we know what he can do with his legs, but now he's able to throw the ball, and that makes opportunities for the Woodbury offense.
And of course, you talk about what he can do with his legs and how he can stretch plays out. He may have to run around against a very strong Paulsboro defensive line, led by a guy who you can't miss out there in the field, 6'8", 275-pound. Julian Davenport.
Well, we're used to talking about Davenport on the court because he's a terrific basketball player, but this guy takes up a ton of room. Defensive tackle that's going to eat up a lot of space, and also he's got a great burst. He's quick off the line, great legs, and he can block to you on the offensive side of the football. But he's a guy who takes up space, creates opportunities defensively for his teammates to go after and try to make that initial impact, maybe create some fumbles. He's going to have to do a lot of chasing today because Averett and company and Denby, those type of guys have great speed. But if they try to run in the interior of that line, they're going to meet Mr. Davenport.
And of course, Shawn alluded to the fact both Group 1 schools, both are going to be major contenders in a Group 1 field that is as balanced as we've seen in quite some time, with Glassboro, the two-time defending champion. So the stage is set between these two rivals who are going to be battling in this Colonial Conference Patriot Division game. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this timeout. And welcome back. Marc Narducci along with Shawn Leary as they're getting ready for the opening kickoff. Paulsboro in the red uniforms will be kicking off. Anthony Averett, your deep man there, along with Cameron Gamble. Mike Macaron will be kicking off for Paulsboro. Already 9 touchbacks this year, and we are underway. Gamble in the end zone, so that'll come out for Woodbury. The Woodbury offense, as we mentioned, Anthony Averett will be your quarterback. Number 4, the fullback Ty Brown, Duan Martin, and Jure Denby are your other running backs. Max Belko, Jaleel Robinson, Marquise Aaron, the freshman Nazir Harris, and Lorenzo Clark along the line. William Harris is one of your wide receivers, with Gamble, the player that we just saw as well, one of the other receivers. We'll get to the Paulsboro lineup in a second.
Although Anthony Averett, certainly the player that Paulsboro is going to giving a lot of attention to, there's some really good talent in that backfield for Woodbury.
And they're stuffed, and Paulsboro has it. Paulsboro has recovered the fumble. Number 84 recovering that fumble, Trey Tarpley, and big break right away for Paulsboro.
Yeah, they're trying to run right through the teeth of that Paulsboro defense, and we talked about Julian Davenport in the middle there. A great penetration by the Paulsboro line. The ball didn't look like it really was in the breadbasket. Ball pops out, and this is Mark, you talk about big games, and certainly turnovers always mentioned by both coaches. Not the way Woodbury wanted to start this one, that's for sure.
Zach Funk is your quarterback. Leon Road, the fullback, and he gets it there, and not very much, as he's met right away that time by Cameron Gamble.
Yeah, take a look at the fumble here. We'll get back to that. We'll try to get back to it.
Gain of 1 that time, so it'll be 2nd and 9 from the 16. We said Roan the fullback. Deshaun Burgess, an explosive sophomore, number 23. Yeah. We'll be calling his number quite a bit as well, running back. Yusef Stafford, a tight end, very dangerous. And there is Burgess. Burgess, and a tremendous tackle taken down that time by Woodbury. Number 49, Capone Brown, and he's going to be a very active player there.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, Woodbury has great linebackers. They go sideline to sideline. One of the things Paulsboro wanted to do coming into this one is change up the formations a little bit and try to negate some of that speed. But, you know, if you don't get that initial hat on the Woodbury linebackers, they're going to be able to close ground. Typically, when you see Paulsboro going east to west, they have the great speed to get to the corners, not against the very speedy Woodbury defense.
Capone Brown, just a sophomore, makes a lot of plays in there. Burgess again, and he slips that time, and he's going to be well short of the first down. Great pursuit by that Woodbury defense.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed that they were talking about a little bit before the game. Was it seems like a soft field today. So some of that speed that you're going to see from both sides might be negated a little bit by the soft field. You're going to see a couple players slipping.
There was a gain of 3 that time, Shawn, so it'll be a 4th and 6 from the 13. And Macaron, who already has 2 field goals, will be attempting a 30-yard field goal. Funk will be doing the holding. It is up and good. So Paulsboro gets on the board early, taking advantage of the turnovers. The turnover. Good showing, though, by the Woodbury defense, limiting them to 3.
You're exactly right. I mean, what a quick momentum swing, and to dig your heels in, stop and prohibit, obviously, 7 points where you can just give up the field goal. Not the start that Woodbury wanted. You know, I mean, when you come out, Mark, and you kick the ball off, you know, you give it up to a great offense like Woodbury, and you initially get that fumble right off the bat, that's a huge momentum boost to start the game. Woodbury does a nice job. A couple of nice tackles. Capone with that big tackle on 2nd down really put Paulsboro in a 3rd and long, and that's difficult to make up against both of these defenses. Too much speed. Too much talent on both sides of the ball in defense for both Paulsboro and Woodbury. It's hard to make up 3rd and longs, in high school when you have these types of defenses.
Averett and DeJuan Martin, another big play performer wearing number 2 for Woodbury, back for the kick. And it is Martin, and again he's in the end zone, so this will come out.
Well, both times what happens, Martin's just putting his foot on that line. Once you put your foot into the end zone or on the line, it's called dead, and you start off at the 20, not like college and pros where you're able to bring it out of the end zone. Once it's kicked back there, Mark, it's blown dead. You can see the strength of the leg of Macaron, another weapon for Paulsboro, not only what they have in the backfield, but Macaron is a weapon and puts points on the board and forces teams to start deep in their own end. That's a huge, when you have to go 80 yards as opposed to 60, and Mark, as you know, that is a much harder task.
No question about it, Shawn. He's one of the premier kickers in all of South Jersey. So 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Thundering Herd. Averett looking for some room, and nice job by Burgess that time making the hit.
The late flag came at the end of the play, but you're right, Burgess did a nice job of staying at home. You got to make sure you don't over pursue on the play with Averett. With his great speed, we've seen that from a number of backs on in both programs' histories.
3-3, coach, 3-3. Dead ball. Personal foul. Red.
Paulsboro's not going to like that call at all. I mean, I'm not too sure exactly what they saw there. Maybe a late hit. You see Averett here. Nice job by that Paulsboro defense. Of course, to Shawn Burgess, the sophomore. With a nice form tackle, planting Averett into the turf.
So actually, Averett had a loss of 1 on that play, 15-yard penalty. It'll give Woodbury 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. Averett, and he overthrows Denby that time for the incomplete pass. Remember, and Shawn, you touched on it, that Averett known more for his legs, but he did throw 8 touchdown passes last season on a team that traditionally is a running team.
Well, he's really worked on his mechanics, and that's really bad. He has the athletic ability to be able to play the position, of course, with his speed and what he's able to do on the ground. Goes without saying, but what he's been able to do technically as a quarterback is really impressive. Over the last couple of years, I mean, he didn't throw a pass in midgets. It's not something that he was accustomed to doing, and he's picked on it real nicely and done a terrific job.
And that was Devon Ayers that time, the sophomore, into the game, and he slipped. And you talk about electrifying players, he's another one.
Yeah, they have some weapons. You talk about Averett. He's obviously the big story this year, in not only in this area, but also in South Jersey. But you have some talent. Martin, Ayers. There's some guys there that can then all Denby. There's some guys there that can get some breakaway touchdowns, great speed, and they can turn a quick run into a quick 6.
That was a loss of 2, so it'll be 3rd and 12 from the 32-yard line for Woodbury. A lot of times Averett will roll out on plays like this, give him that pass rush option, and Davenport that time drawn off.
Well, yeah, he was drawn off. Looked like Woodbury's going to get caught here. Right side of that offensive line, and 3rd and long. This is a very difficult 17 yards to make up, even though you have somebody as dynamic as Averett.
So Julian Davenport reacting that time, drawn off, and it'll be a 3rd and 17 from the 27 for Woodbury.
It's important here for Woodbury not to compound its problems. You don't want to have another turnover in your own end. If it's not there for Averett, he wants to just try to throw the ball away, pick up what he can. But you do expect him to roll out
here. Here he is, Averett. Averett going across the 40-yard line. He'll be short a few yards of the 1st down. Gets to about the 41-yard line. Gain of 14 on that play.
Good blocking by the wide receivers for Woodbury. Give Averett a little bit of running room. Now you have the punt team come on. And, this is important. Field position in a game like this, both teams pretty much evenly matched. Field position going to be very important. You're going to see here the rollout by Averett.
For the Red Raiders, number 23.
Watch his speed. Once he's able to square up his shoulders and turn upfield, he sees the hole there. He's able to use his great speed to get to the edge. And as I said, good blocking downfield by the receivers.
Shawn Burgess returns the punt, and a tremendous special teams tackle that time by William Harris. By the way, that was a gain of 13 by Averett on that last play. So Paulsboro will take over.
He's able to get on the field. Take a look at the Paulsboro offensive line. Good size up front, especially, you talk about Davenport, but he makes everyone else look so small, but they have some good size and good blocking up front. They just got to make sure that they try to get some inside presence with his running game.
Burgess gets outside, and a tremendous tackle by Denby that time. We've seen some great open field tackles by both teams early on.
Well, tackling, everybody talks about how tackling has been a problem, and both coaches emphasizing the importance of tackling today, making sure they wrap up and don't take the play for granted. Don't assume that somebody is done it off. There you see a little shot of Averett taking the break.
No gain on that play, so it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 32-yard line. Paulsboro in the eye. Burgess on the draw. Burgess across to the 40, breaks the tackle, and he's near the first down marker before Ayers brings him down. That's great second effort.
Big time collision with the safety, Demby, who came up and made a nice play before. Burgess, see the sophomore, not going to give up to Demby. Demby coming in with that good size. He's 6 foot, 165 junior.
Yeah, I think Denby's definitely a 1A type prospect. So gain of 12, 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Shawn Burgess again breaks another tackle over the 50 and in to Paulsboro territory.
Well, I think that's where Paulsboro wants to try to establish a little bit of a running game, soften up the outside, but you're going to need to be able to soften up the inside before you do that. And those linebackers are going to have to sneak a little bit more into the interior of the defense if Paulsboro is going to have success up the middle.
Gain of 8, so it'll be 2nd and 2 for the Red Raiders, getting a great surge from that offensive line. Funk, and he fools nobody.
Yeah, that's just a terrific job by number 75, Max Belko, 6'3", 239-pound junior. Does a good job staying at home, making sure that didn't buy the fake, was able to swallow up Funk.
That was a loss of 3, so it'll be a 3rd and 5, and that's a very impressive offensive line for Paulsboro. Davenport, Tim Barnaby, Pop Little, a 4-year starter, B.J. Carter, and Nate Robinson across the front line. We talked about Stafford. He's your tight end. He's also an outstanding blocker as well. So 3rd and 5 from its own 49 is Paulsboro. Funk looking to get Burgess out in the flat, and Woodbury will have nothing to be fooled about by that. Anthony Averett that time on the tackle.
Yeah, they're going to Averett's side, and Averett, another good tackler. I mean, you're seeing some really good tackling by both sides. I know Woodbury had a couple of missed tackles on this drive, but guys are coming up, and they're squaring up, and they're hitting the guys low, and that's impressive to see at a high school level, Mark. That's some of the things that people have talked about throughout football, from the youth level all the way to the pros, that tackling, the art of tackling has kind of taken a back seat to the big hit.
Macaron on the punt. Averett, your deep man.
Punt.
That was a loss of 4, by the way, that's last play.
And that's outstanding punt.
Great punt, as that'll be down inside the 5.
I'm kind of surprised Averett didn't come up and was able to catch that. It was in the air a long time. Averett letting that bounce, a mistake by him, because now you're backed up at the 3-yard line. So that's a mental mistake by Averett, something you don't see typically from such a high-profile guy and a smart kid. Averett's not just a talent athletically, but he has a good football mind.
How about a 52-yard punt by Mike Macaron, and
a weapon, yeah.
Obviously, with 4:01 left here in the first quarter, Paulsboro leading 3-0. Big special teams here.
It's one of the things that plagued Woodbury's loss against West Effort.
Denby. And Davenport was the first one to hit him. It looked like he had a little bit of momentum, but gains very little, if anything at all, that time.
See the gentle giant also helping Denby to his feet. And Davenport, we see him on the football field, but also an outstanding basketball player as well. With Paulsboro last season was a Group 1 power.
Shawn, that was a gain of 1, so it'll be 2nd and 9 from the 4. And I understand that Temple's one of the schools that has already offered Davenport. He's a very, besides being a good prospect, he's a very good student as well. So 2nd and 9. Woodbury again in the shotgun. Averett. And Averett is tackled that time by Paulsboro's number 1, Derek Burgess. We've been talking about the Shawn Burgess. Derek is his brother. He's a senior. Does a great job coming up that time. 6'1", 175 senior.
Yeah, I was able to see the Burgess boys in the youth level at the All-Star games, and both of them dynamic players in their own right. Were terrific speed, really nice receivers. Now you see not only Derek, but also his brother, Shawn, who comes up and has been in the backfield and had a really nice start to his season so far as a sophomore. But both of them have good speed. Again, short tacklers, great hands. Really made an impact here for this Paulsboro.
Loss of 2, so it'll be 3rd and 11 from the 2-yard line. In these situations, Averett usually keeps it in his hands. And he does. Averett trying to run, and he turns it up.
It's gone.
Averett, he could be gone. Anthony Averett turns on the Jets, and he is not going to be caught. 98 yards, Anthony Averett, and Woodbury leads it 6-3.
8-yard touchdown run.
Crease. That's all you have to give him is a crease. He saw it. What is impressive about him, I mean, his speed, his God-given talent, obviously, is something everybody watches, and him break away from the defenders. But right there was a good indication of what makes him a special player and why Alabama's going to have him in certain situations with the football. I mean, he's just so good in ways that he can create. But his vision, his being able to set up his blockers, makes him a special ball carrier.
Then beyond for the conversion kick now. And it is good. So with 2 minutes exactly left here in the first quarter, it is Woodbury leading Paulsboro by a 7-3 score. You know, it's interesting. He's going to University of Alabama, and he's going to be playing defense
right.
for Coach Nick Saban, who also coaches the defensive backs and certainly has a history of sending a lot of people to the NFL. But I would advise Alabama maybe put a Wildcat package or two in for Averett.
I can't imagine that you wouldn't entertain that thought. I mean, he is such a, again, his speed obviously is something, and I remember Coach Shawn had come down from Rutgers and spoke with us in the media, and he said, you know, you look at certain things, not so much of what they did in high school with the stats, but you look at what they're able to do, either the size of their body, can they grow out a little bit, do they have incredible speed, and Averett has that, but that's what makes him special. Take a look right there. He's able to cut upfield, nice blocking, and he's just able to use his blockers and set them up so well that he's able to find those creases. That's what makes him a terrific running back.
And you know what's interesting?
Quarterback running.
You know what's interesting, Shawn? It's not as if Paulsboro didn't know he would get the ball, because in situations like that, he's been the one that keeps the ball in his hand. Pass run option, although there was no pass option on that one.
When you have a player like that, it's, you know what's coming. It's just, can you stop it?
Rafiq Cease, number 21, and Deshaun Burgess, who we've called plenty of times, back for the kickoff. And this one is Cease does not handle it, and Smartly doesn't handle it. It looked like he was thinking about it now, so that'll be brought out to the 35-yard line.
Joey Gundy's kick does go out of bounds. That'll be an illegal procedure point.
Kind of reminded me when, I'm sure you remember this, when Averett was a freshman in the playoff game where he returned it, I believe, 99 yards on a fumble, I believe it was.
Yeah, you know, Averett as a freshman was a running back. Then converted, as Shawn mentioned, the quarterback the last 3 years. So Paulsboro with good position, 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line. Cease gets his first carry of the game, and Cease is breaking tackles, and he's up past the 40-yard line. That's a tremendous job by Rafiq Cease.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real nice run, especially with the penetration by Nazir Harris, the freshman, who was able to get into the backfield and disrupt that play a little bit, but Cease was able to slip through a couple of tackles and pick up 6 yards that didn't look like it was there as the play started.
2nd and 4 from the 41-yard line. 1:36 left here in the first quarter. Woodbury leading Paulsboro by a score of 7-3. Roan, and he is stopped for very little.
Yeah, Ty Brown in the mix there.
No gain. Third and 4.
See Brown, number 6. 5'11", 218-pound junior.
Well, he'll make a lot of tackles from that middle linebacker position. Actually, we'll call it a gain of 1 that time. So it'll be 3rd and 3 from the 47. Funk in a shotgun now. They run out of this a lot, though. Cease. And he is taken down short of the first down. Jameer Baston with the tackle that time, the senior.
Well, I talked about putting the ball in the breadbasket. That time, Funk, it was a little, they're lucky they didn't have a fumble on that play because he handled the ball off near his shoulder, and Cease was able to hold on to that football. That doesn't start the play off real well, Mark. As you know, there's not a lot of time that you can react with the football in that backfield, and everything needs to kind of go perfectly and smooth. It didn't for Paulsboro in that play.
So 4th and 1. Macaron gets off, and there is a flag now as Woodbury has run into the kicker.
That's going to be a first down for Paulsboro.
Absolutely. That was Max Belko.
There is a flag on the play.
As time has expired here in the first quarter, but with the flag in the play, and you're right, Shawn, that's going to be a first down. Boy, what kind of impact has Macaron already had? A couple touchbacks, the field goal.
Yeah, right now he's the MVP of this game for Paulsboro. And how he can make an impact for this team. He's doing it with his leg, and now he's going to pick up the first down. That's the end of the first quarter, Marc.
And that is the end of the first quarter.
We're back here. It's not the second quarter just yet. As the play, a defensive penalty you can't end the quarter on a defensive penalty. So this will be the end of the first quarter.
So Burgess will get a few yards over the 50. And the teams will switch sides and they won't have to go very far.
And Marc, probably a good time to talk about two people that Paulsboro lost over the summer. And you talk about Paulsboro coming into the community. I know you as a member of the media and all of us here at Gloucester County Educational Network certainly will miss John Vogeting, who was the voice of wrestling along with John Mondelli for years and years. And, of course, his wife, Betty, who also passed away this summer, Paulsboro's biggest fan. And they'll be sorely missed. I know this community has had a rough summer with the loss of both Betty and John. And we wish Marc, son, who we see often here, the best is. It's a very tough loss to this community. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I used to love going to the Touchdown Club, Marc. I don't know if you remember this. And you always waited for Betty's comment when John would go to the podium and talk about the Touchdown Club or the kids. And she would just kind of rag on him, and she made it a festive atmosphere.
Well, I was telling Marc Vogeting earlier today, my favorite Betty Vogeting story is every year I'd be at Paulsboro football, and I'd hear someone from the stands go, "Hey, Narducci, are you ever going to get it right?" and it was Betty Vogeting, a real passionate fan. And Shawn, I echo your statement there. Just a tremendous loss to the community. So 2nd and 7 is Burgess, and again doesn't get a whole lot there as he meets up with Lorenzo Clark, 6'4", 310 pounds for Woodbury.
That's good size in the middle of that line, 310 pounds. You're talking about Get Davenport and a space eater. You have somebody like Clark, who also gives you that dynamic, that presence in the interior of that line.
Gain of 1, so it'll be 3rd and 6 from the Woodbury 47. Funk with play action. Funk scrambling, going towards the first down. He's going to be close. Might be a hair short on that, Shawn. We'll see where they spot it.
He had Stafford wide open in the middle of the field and just couldn't get the ball out to him, so he tried to use his legs on that play. It's going to be real close. They're going to mark him just short as he went out of bounds, just short of that first down marker, so it's going to be 4th and less than a yard. But he had Stafford wide open, the tight end. We talked about Stafford earlier, Mark. I think you had mentioned the big guy, the tight end, great target, 6'3", 175. He was alone.
Yeah, 4th and less than 1, and Paulsboro obviously going for it here, trailing 7-3. Funk, and he makes it on the sneak. Goes right up the middle, and why wouldn't you want to run behind Pop Little, the 4-year starter, 6'1", 275-pound center, one of the premier offensive linemen in this conference.
Yeah, he's a good one, and Pop is a guy who not only gives you that experience at the center position. I mean, you know how important that is with that center quarterback exchange. That's something that's taken for granted because you just expect that the snap is going to happen. But when you have that confidence in a guy, that certainly as a coach, that makes you sleep a little easier at night.
1st and 10 from the 40, 10:40 left here in the second quarter. Roan, and again, brought down immediately by Woodbury. That was number 54 that time. Nazir Harris, just a freshman.
Yeah, I saw Harris in the All-Star game, and you kind of see it's kind of fun. I don't know if you've been to a Tri-County Midget Football League All-Star game or one of these All-Star games. You see these kids, and it's all it's like an All-Star game. It's basically like the Adam Telefair Classic, but brought down on a much smaller scale. But Harris was a terrific running back. He was a big guy, that big fullback that you typically see at Woodbury, and he's done a nice job adjusting to the offensive line, and here is certainly the defensive line.
Loss of 1, so it'll be 2nd and 11. Burgess, as he actually faked to his brother that time, he gets across the 40 to about the 39.
They put Burgess back in the Wildcat, and Woodbury doing another nice job of reacting to Burgess in the backfield.
It'll be 3rd and 9 from the 39-yard line. Both Burgess brothers, real big play performers. Kane Seeger, the receiver, brings in the play now. Tell you, a guy to watch too. We talked about him, is Stafford. As it's 3rd and 9, Funk with that bubble screen to Burgess. Burgess getting over the 30 to the 29, and we have a late flag on the play, Shawn. Looked like he has enough for the first down, but we have a flag on the play.
That's great effort by the senior. You can tell, these are two teams that are getting after each other. Some hard hits, great tackling. Everything has been very clean, but you saw there just a great second effort by Burgess to extend to get to that first down stick, or at least close. Blow to the head, okay? So blow to the head, and that's going to give the first down to Paulsboro regardless, and that's a big penalty. 15 yards. That's going to bring it to the 15-yard line. But that play, you can see the toughness by Burgess. He kind of just lowered his head and shoulders and kept those legs driving and got close to the stick. That's impressive by the senior.
So, Shawn, there was a gain of 9 to Derek Burgess, and then with the 15-yard penalty, that brings it to 1st and 10 from the Woodbury 15-yard line. Wildcat again with Burgess keeping the ball. Doesn't gain a whole lot there. Gains about 2 yards. Well, Shawn Burgess came into the game with 195 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, and he's certainly going to be an active performer. He remains in the shotgun.
Picking up almost 5 yards carry.
Burgess keeps it, goes right up the middle, and gets a few more. Give Woodbury a lot of credit for holding its ground there.
Yeah, this is a good offensive line for Paulsboro. And Woodbury, despite losing, they had 3 offensive linemen that they had to replace. And, of course, that also translates to the defensive line as well. And they've done a nice job with replacing some of those missing starters from last year.
Theo Holloway, a sophomore receiver, into the game now for Paulsboro. Funk back in also in the shotgun. Derek Burgess split wide right. Now he goes in motion. Remember, they hit him with that bubble screen before. Looks like they were looking for him underneath. Funk scrambling. Averitt gets a hand on him. He'll be short of the first down, it looks. Gets out of bounds.
Zach Funk pulls it down. Keep it around the left-hand side. He's brought down. But not
Woodbury's kind of lucky there.
He does get the first down. Excuse me.
The defensive back kind of had his back turned to the play, so he wasn't even realizing that Funk was taking the ball himself, and the linebackers were able to come in and clean up that play. But that looked like it could have been a touchdown, just based on the fact the defensive player got turned around, had his back to Funk, and Funk smartly pulling the ball down and running to that side. That's another good play by a quarterback, not using his arm, but also just using his smarts and being able to notice that.
First and goal from the 6. Funk going straight up the middle.
He's in.
And he's in. Well, that's that great Paulsboro offensive line. So Zach Funk from 6 yards out, and Paulsboro has regained the lead here with 6:40 left in the second quarter.
Funk on the 2-yard carry. Number 12, Mike Macaron to attempt the extra point for the Red Raiders.
Macaron on the kick is good, and Paulsboro now leads 10-7. Actually, I had it from the 6. I think I gave him a little too much yardage there. A 2-yard touchdown.
Yeah, nice penetration by the Woodbury defensive line. I mean, they didn't get pushed back too much on that sneak. However, Funk alertly was able to find a little bit of a crease and power his way across that line. So, remember, this is a drive that was stalled, and Paulsboro was ready to punt. And the penalty for running into the kicker really has put Paulsboro in position right here as they've gone ahead and taken the lead. So special teams has caused Woodbury problems over the first 4 weeks of the season. West Deptford, they pretty much played West Deptford well throughout the first half. Close in that game. They came back, and West Deptford was able to open up the second half on a kickoff return. They fumbled another kickoff, did Woodbury, and that equated to 14 points in that game. So here you see how a mistake in special teams cost Woodbury once again. That's something that is, I'm sure, giving Zach Valentine some fits on the opposing sideline.
And remember, Macaron already has 2 touchbacks here. That time it'll be short. Averitt looking for the opening, and a nice return over the 35 to about the 37.
Yeah, you see the difference, right? If Macaron is able to get his foot into it really well and push him back and make him start at the 20, now they start at the 37, 38-yard line, especially with the outstanding returners that Woodbury has. So, it's a big difference in what Macaron was able to do in that first quarter with giving those 2 touchbacks. It's has a great impact when you have a kicker like that. That time he just wasn't able to get as much leg into it, and Woodbury with decent field position to start, something they have not had yet so far in this game.
33-yard kickoff return for Averitt. Deep back is Martin. And Averitt again gets a nice gain, close to the 45.
Well, he gets in that shotgun and he's able to see the field, and as I mentioned, and what Coach Valentine has mentioned before about his field vision, he's able to pick up about 7 yards on that play. But that also shows his toughness, being able to go run between the tackles. Not a guy that's always going to go to the outside and get the home run. He's going to be able to mix it up in the middle as well.
2nd and 3 from the 44. Martin. And getting the initial hit on him that time was Trey Tarpley.
That's a
But
good
Martin
run.
gets the first down.
Yeah, that's a good run by Martin. You know, a lot of times, Mark, we see, especially younger kids, will want to try to use that speed, especially with teams like this who have been through the youth programs. They've been able to use their speed to get to the outside. That time, Martin understanding, all right, 2nd and 3, I got a little bit of a spot here. Let me just go and cut back inside and pick up the first down. So that 3 yards, it's a really good run by the young man for not trying to go with his instincts to get to the outside and get the big play, just picking up the first down and moving the chains.
Flag on the play as Denby gets it, and I think there was some sort of motion on Woodbury.
Yeah, so it's going to be an illegal. It should be an illegal motion.
It was a legal shift that time. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty. 1st and 15 from the 43-yard line. Woodbury in the all-white uniforms, which look nice,
Yeah.
but for an announcer, they're not the easiest ones to pick up numbers. I'll be honest with you.
No, there's been some talk of Woodbury. The colors have been causing problems in the city of Woodbury, not just at the soon-to-be South Jersey Times, as we've had a lot of discussion about colors recently, but also here at Woodbury High School.
Fumble that time and ball down right there is not a crisp exchange.
Well, that's something that I mentioned earlier, Mark, with Pop Little, that, you know, to lose a play there when you don't have that center exchange with the quarterback.
Actually, it was illegal procedure on Woodbury, so that'll bring it back to the 38. So now it'll be Shawn 1st and 20 from the 38. And these are times when Averett likes to keep the ball.
I remember the last time you said that. He was moving 98 yards for a touchdown. So you're right, for Paulsboro, this is, you got to keep your eye on number 4.
Actually have 4 players in the backfield with them. Yep. Short gain to Martin that time.
Good call by the Woodbury coaching staff. You know, it's a little play of a high percentage play where you don't put your quarterback in a position where he might force the football. He just gets it out with a little out pattern, pick up about 8 yards, get some of that yardage back that you gave up on the penalties.
Geraldo Batista, who's been a tackling machine for Paulsboro, came in with 28 tackles, made the stop, so it'll be 2nd and 12 from the Woodbury 46-yard line. 3:52 and counting left here in the 2nd quarter. Paulsboro leading 10-7. Averett again, and he stopped up pretty quickly that time.
Yeah, Davenport with the initial hit, I believe, and also able to bring him down. But you saw right there, there's not much room when Davenport's able to extend those arms. I mean, you think about his wingspan, that he's able to swallow up a ball carrier. There, it doesn't give any yardage for Averett.
Actually, charitably give him a yard, so it'll be 3rd and 11 from the 47. A crucial time right now, because if you're Paulsboro and you can stop them and then you get another shot here.
Again, 50-50s are still being sold by Paulsboro High School Marching Band.
Remember, Paulsboro won, it was the opening game last year between these two teams, 12-7. Averett, long count. And intercepted by Paulsboro. Intercepted that time by Stephen Baylor, number 19.
Yeah, Baylor with a really nice job defending and an excellent catch, able to go up and pull that one in. And that play kind of didn't start real well. It looked like the snap was a little bit off to his right, and he couldn't set and throw, and tried to force it there. I mean, 3rd and long, you don't blame him for taking the shot downfield. He did have a man open, and Baylor was able to close that gap and pull in the interception. But a nice job defensively by Baylor. Baylor, 5'4", 125 pounds, able to turn his body around and pull it in.
So 1st and 10 from the 31, 2:37 left here in the second quarter. We'll see how Paulsboro goes about this. Burgess, Shawn Burgess, and he's still fighting for yardage, gets up close to the 34.
Stafford with a nice block.
You do handheld
again,
Jack.
reacting.
You can see how it feels, all cramped up and sore and everything.
Give him 3 on that, so it'll be 2nd and 7 from the 34-yard line.
Timmy, keep moving your feet, buddy. Keep moving your feet.
Here's the other thing, Shawn. If Paulsboro gets in a situation where it's stopped on 2nd down and then throws an incomplete on 3rd down, it gives Woodbury another chance. So I'm sure Paulsboro is thinking about all that as well. 1:53 and counting here in the second quarter.
It's really where time becomes important. You start looking at the clock, wondering whether you want to use timeouts.
I think there's a delay of game here.
Now that might help Woodbury's decision, especially if they make a stop here, Mark. You would expect them to call timeout.
Oh,
Preserve some of that clock.
No question about it. It'll be 2nd and 12 from the 29-yard line. By the way, both of these teams are idle next week. In fact, the Colonial Conference, which traditionally always started a week later than everybody else, actually started as early as everybody and has a bye week next week. Give the teams a little breather.
I took a look at that schedule. I was kind of second guessing myself whether I made a mistake. I didn't catch on that they started early. It's going to back them up again.
Now we have another flag. It'll be 2nd and 17 now, Shawn, from the 24-yard line.
And now this makes it a no-brainer. I mean, and barring any big play from Paulsboro, Woodbury is going to call a timeout, or should call a timeout at least right after this play.
By the way, Colin Whippy, your referee, Bob Fort, your umpire, Walt Levy, linesman, Steve Colby, line judge, George Golding, back judge, and the clock operator is Ed Sadowski. You're right. If they get a stop here, Woodbury probably calls a timeout. Funk, he'll keep it and not get very much. As Ty Brown, the first one to greet him, very, very active junior linebacker, and Woodbury does call a timeout there.
Well, especially with Averett. I mean, it doesn't matter if you can sneak one more play in where the ball's in his hands. You're going to make sure you give him that opportunity. And Paulsboro probably content right now with a 10-7 lead to go into halftime, just with that margin of having an advantage over Woodbury. They'd love to go into the locker room this way. So they're going to be real careful with the football, not take too many chances, and Woodbury's going to use its timeouts.
So it'll be 3rd and 15 from the 26-yard line.
Woodbury head coach.
Anyway, we talked about Paulsboro losing to Sterling. That's a vastly improved Sterling team under Coach Clint Wiley. Of course, Clint was at Villanova as an assistant coach and took over Sterling last year. They win 6 games and could be a factor this year. Although after that, then Sterling lost to Haddonfield, who lost to Paulsboro opening week. So there's a lot of
jockeying.
There's a lot of parity, I think, in the Colonial beyond West Deptford. 3rd and 15 from the 26. Cease. And he will get very little. Tremendous job by Woodbury's Cameron Gamble coming up to make the tackle that time, and the Thundering Herd calls another timeout.
You mentioned that loss, Mark, and Paulsboro jumped out to a 10-0 lead in that game. And it was actually right before the half where Sterling had scored and kind of changed a little bit of the momentum going into halftime. You always look at certain situations and think about what could happen here. Giving Woodbury another opportunity with Averett sticking back. You see here, not much room at all and a very safe play for Paulsboro. And that speed of the Woodbury defense able to put them in a position where they force the 4th down. Now, remember, the last punt attempted by Paulsboro. There was a penalty called on roughing the kicker, running into the kicker.
4th and 17 from the 24. Macaron had a very big rush. Averett's not going to be able to return it, but the ball will roll dead at about the 42-yard line. So with that heavy pressure, nice job by Macaron getting that ball off.
You got to appreciate the confidence that Valentine and his staff had in its special teams unit there, not calling off the dogs on that punt return. They went after him still, despite the penalty on the last punt attempt. But here you go. You got 1:15 left and the ball in Averett's hands. Plenty of time for Woodbury to try and either regain the lead or at least put them in the position to tie it up with a field goal attempt.
Actually, they're splitting Martin out wide. Oh, that right side is open if Averett runs. Averett throws, and again intercepted by the Red Raiders. Number 3 for Paulsboro, Kane Seeger, the senior, gets Paulsboro's second interception of the game. And it'll be Paulsboro ball at its own 36-yard line with 1:07 left here.
Well, I think Averett was, he saw something there, but I think the ball just floated on him. He just kind of threw it up, and it was a poor pass by Averett. But more importantly, I think what happened on that play is it just floated on him. He had the man open, coming right up the seam, and the ball just had too much air underneath of it.
So 1:07 left. We'll see how Paulsboro goes about this. 1st and 10 from the 36. Cease, and he gains very little. It's been very hard to run up the middle on that Paulsboro team, and making the tackle once again, Cameron Gamble.
They call 2 plays smart. I mean, this is when you see really good coaching. You have 2 plays called, come to the line of scrimmage, get ready to snap it once again.
2nd and 10. Funk.
Wow, great penetration.
Has a little bit of time, but now he'll be taken down as Belko got the initial rush on him. And cleaning things up was Ty Brown.
Mad Max in the middle of that Woodbury defense just disrupted that play from the outset.
3rd and 11, and I'm wondering if Paulsboro is even going to run a play here.
Yeah, I would, right? Maybe call a timeout just to get one more play in.
No, 9 seconds and counting, and this has been a terrific first half. It's everything you expect between Paulsboro and Woodbury. So we're through the first 2 quarters, and it's Paulsboro 10 and Woodbury 7. And welcome back. Marc Narducci along with Shawn Leary as Paulsboro leads 10-7. We're getting ready for the second half kickoff. And fielding the ball is Rakeem Smith, number 24 for Paulsboro, and he gets close to the 30-yard line.
Rakeem Smith gets the ball in zone 16, brings it out to the 30. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Red Raiders.
You're not bad field position to start for Paulsboro. Is
30-yard line.
Talking a little bit about that first half, and Paulsboro, Mark, a couple of penalties, the personal foul. I mean, they didn't have any real consistency with the offense, neither running nor passing, where they were really generating a lot of room either on the outside. They did have some success running up the middle, but they're going to need to develop a little bit more consistency offensively if they want to hold on to the lead.
Cease will start off, and he'll get the ball there, and another tremendous tackle by Martin that time. What's interesting, Shawn, is Deshaun Burgess was limping a little bit on the sidelines, and he's obviously not in the game.
It almost looks like he's trying to stretch himself out a little bit, so you wonder if there's some muscle issues, some cramping issues, because it doesn't look like he looks like he's kind of stretching out both legs.
I'll tell you, we have seen some tremendous open field tackling. The fundamentals, the coaching on both of these teams, unbelievable. Funk in the shotgun, gives it to Cease. Cease over the 30, over the 35, and there's going to be a face mask that time. As it looked like Big Lorenzo Clark got in there with a face mask.
There is a flag on the play. It'll be a personal foul. Face mask on the Herd.
Yeah, Lorenzo grabbed a lot of mask there, ripped the head right around. That was an easy call for the officials. And this is, big chunks of yardage when you get that 15 yards. Mark, we saw that on the one scoring drive for Paulsboro in the first half. Here, this puts them beyond the 50-yard line now in Woodbury territory. And so, these are the plays for Woodbury. You don't want to hurt yourself, when you have personal fouls and roughing the kicker and, those type of mistakes really cost you in the game.
1st and 10, and there's a fumble that time, but Cease picks it up, and he's hit by Martin, and then coming in to close the deal was Cameron Gamble. Big loss by the Red Raiders.
Handoff to Rick Cease is dropped in the backfield, brought down by numbers 2.
Big mistake. And I don't know if he actually got the football right from the onset. No, he didn't. Not at all. And that's on the running back. I mean, that ball's right there for the ball carrier, which, Cease should have been able to pull that one in. It was a good spot set up by Funk, but that's going to get big loss of 7 yards.
The 2nd and 18 from the 44-yard line. Draw play. Burgess back in the game, and he gets very little, and he fumbles.
Yeah, the initial hit, that ball popped right out and right into the hands.
And Clark recovered at that time, and Woodbury's in business.
Yeah, the big guy, it bounced right in front of him. Cease is going to come right inside. Excuse me, that's Burgess. Burgess ball hit right on the football, and Clark is able to just have it pop right into his hands.
So it'll be 1st and 10 on the Paulsboro 43 for Woodbury. 10:04 left here in the 3rd quarter. Paulsboro leading at 10-7.
It's not like Burgess didn't cover the football up either. I mean, he had both hands on it. The helmet got right onto the football, and it got jarred loose.
Martin in motion. Averett keeps it. Averett trying to get outside. He's over the 40 to 35. Down near the 30-yard line for another 1st down for Woodbury.
It looked like if it wasn't for Seeger, that might have gone the distance as well. There was enough running room on the outside to make one player miss, and he was gone.
Averett, by the way, in the first half, 6 carries, 116 yards unofficially. That was a gain of 13, so it'll be 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Martin in motion, breaks one tackle, and then taken down by number 58, Pop Little that time. Down to about the 26-yard line, a gain of 4.
We talked about Pop Little as the center. He's also a defensive tackle, 6'1", 275 pounds. He's able to make that play a little bit downfield after the 4-yard gain. That's a nice little modest gain on 1st down. That just gives you a lot of options here on 2nd down with Averett behind center.
Martin in the slot. Benby in motion. Averett gets to the outside again, and getting the initial hit on him was Derek Burgess, but not before another big gain by Averett.
Yeah, it's hard to really see as a fan that what he does well and why he's so effective, even with the small things that really are the attention to detail. But the way he's able to use his shoulders effectively and kind of lean in, making sure that he's able to get to the edge, and he does a nice job of being able to freeze that defensive end and get to the outside.
Gain of 9 that time, so it'll be 1st and 10 from the Paulsboro 17. Woodbury trailing 10-7, but marching here in the 3rd quarter. Averett again, another big gain that time, and making the tackle that time is Trey Tarpley, but not before Averett Gets inside the 10 to close to the 6-yard line.
That's right there. You get a good chance to see his versatility, not only being able to talk about his speed, but his toughness as he goes inside. Watch here the decision here. Then I'm going to cut it back inside and, just pick up a couple extra yards. Puts down his helmet, puts his shoulders down, and is able to pick up another yard or two just based on his momentum going forward and his ability to kind of do a little bit of crashing as well.
1st and goal from the 6. Averett, he still has it. Averett getting to the outside. Averett will not be touched for the 6-yard touchdown.
Touchdown, Woodbury. Number 4, Anthony Averett. Untouched.
That looked all too easy for the Woodbury offense, the way they're able to drive down. That has to be concerning in the second half for that Paulsboro defense. And we're going to be able to look at this, and there was some outstanding blocking by Woodbury. I mean, they just really did a nice job on that drive. But to cap it off, you're going to see Jaleel Robinson pull and make a terrific block. And also the wide receiver, Juwan Martin, the senior.
High snap. Denby, no good. So the score remains 13-10.
That's important because of the leg of macaron. But here, I don't think you'll be able to see it here, but you're going to see number 66 and also Juwan Martin with a terrific block as the receiver, and also Martin as the pulling guard, Robinson as the pulling guard with 2 key blocks that allowed Averett to pretty much walk into the end zone. Glenn Howard meets his team as they come off the field, and I'm not sure that they'll be very happy with that that effort defensively, because it kind of looked like they came out of half, and Marc Woodbury with a little bit of swag, and Paulsboro looks like the one deflated. I mean, they came out with the lead, but defensively, they just did not look well.
That was a 5-play, 43-yard drive, and on that drive, Shawn, Averett 3 carries for 30 yards, and of course a 6-yard touchdown run to pull Woodbury back into the lead, 13-10.
Well, especially what Averett does extremely well. Defensively, the ends are going to have some penetration upfield. That's where it all starts. If you saw both times the tackles on either side offensively for Woodbury, they're able to give that initial surge, and Paulsboro is not getting any penetration up either side. When you have that, that really becomes difficult, because that's Averett's game. He's going to be able to get to the edge and be able to do one of 2 things: either turn it back inside or get upfield.
He came into the day with 315 yards rushing. As unofficially 146 as Cease takes it from about the 11.
There's a block in the back that they missed.
Yeah, that was by Roan there, and he gets it down to about the 30-yard line. So decent field position for Paulsboro.
Actually, the referee signaled to Zach Valentine, who wanted that block in the back, that it was on the shoulder. At least he saw it and had a reason for it, right?
7:43 left in the third. It's been a back-and-forth affair. Woodbury leading 13-10. Paulsboro with a 1st and 10 on its own 30-yard line. Burgess, 29, as he gets it up to about the 33-yard line where they'll mark it. Gain of 3.
Yeah, that play looked like it was designed to go to the left, and nice job by Burgess of seeing that hole open up to gain 3 yards because Woodbury had too much penetration on the right side of its defensive line with Belko and Clark, and there was a little bit of a crease, and Burgess doing a nice job of splitting that off and taking the 3 yards.
Nazir Harris on the tackle. He's been an impressive-looking freshman here today. Again, Burgess is stopped up and hitting him first that time for Woodbury. Cameron Gamble, 6'4", 186. You won't find many quicker defensive ends, will you?
No, that's the one thing that you've been looking at, and what's really been, and from my opinion in this game, Mark, is the speed of the outside of the defenses. Right now, Paulsboro, and especially on that last drive, you didn't see that from him. Woodbury, you've pretty much seen that throughout the game. They're getting great penetration from the outside. Paulsboro has no room to run on the outside at all.
They faked the bubble screen, and now they're going deep to Stafford with Averett on them, and the catch is no good.
Out of bounds. Yeah.
Out of bounds is Yusef Stafford that time, trying to go deep. Averett right there. That was actually a good throw, a good defensive play.
All the way around.
Yeah.
You mentioned this, Mark, and I completely agree with you. Fundamentally, both teams are pretty much sound. Woodbury's made mistakes mentally, having some problems with penalties and a couple of costly turnovers. But fundamentally, both teams, when it comes to tackling and other things, this is a very good football game to watch. Pure.
Woodbury got a big rush last time on the punt. We'll see again. Oh, and almost blocking it that time.
Over the years, how many times have we seen Paulsboro with the advantage in special teams of being able to get after the punt? How many block punts have we seen from this Paulsboro program? Woodbury doing a nice job getting penetration on Macro, and they haven't. The only problem is they had the one penalty called against them, which equaled a Paulsboro touchdown. But for the most part, they are getting into Macaron's face, and it seems like it's affecting his ability to get the ball off as well as he has done in the past this season.
Shawn, Ivan Randalls came very, very close to blocking that punt that time. Averett in the shotgun, trying to get outside. He's still up there, and again, it looked like they had him pinned down, and he makes a big gain, finally tackled by Batista.
Well, there you go. You see again, you even get decent penetration that time by the end. However, Woodbury with the blocking downfield is able to pick up almost another first down, about 8.5 yards, 9 yards. And that's just the ability for them to sprint to the outside and the linemen getting there. You say Averett's name, but it's really the linemen who are getting downfield, getting to the outside, and getting the blocks.
It's the third straight time Averett has handled the ball. Going back to the last drive. Again, Woodbury in the shotgun. Averett again. Averett has the first down and more. As he brings the ball close to the Paulsboro 45-yard line.
You're going to get a heavy dose of Anthony Averett here, and you see the run to the outside, just lowers his shoulder, picks up an extra 3 yards, and punishing the defender at the end of that play. So Averett, no way you can call him a soft player. I mean, he's a tough kid as well.
Well, that's one of the things about him. His athletic ability is obvious, but his toughness and his intelligence, his football IQ is at a very high level. Averett again, and he is going nowhere with a tremendous tackle by Nair Grant, the junior defensive lineman.
Yeah, Grant, 6 foot, 275 pounds, is going to get the penetration. That's one of the things that's been lacking so far in the last few possessions defensively for Paulsboro. They've not been able to get penetration into the backfield, and that time they blow the play up from the outset. That's what you're going to need. Here at 2nd and 15, now you're able to get some of the linebackers creeping in a little bit. Maybe you send a guy or two. And they might need to blitz a few lanes to keep Averett from getting to the outside. And that is where he is living right now to start the second half.
2nd and 15 from midfield. Denby in motion. They fake it to him. Going deep, and an interception again by Paulsboro Seeger. That's his second of the day, and Seeger brings it across the 45 to about the 48-yard line.
Well, we talked about his mechanics as a quarterback and being able to throw the football, and he's really struggled so far today. Just doesn't seem like he's setting his feet and planting. I don't know if the field conditions are giving him a little bit of a problem, and he doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket, but he's making poor decisions. He's just allowing the ball to float on him, and with that, he's really not having that crisp pass. He's bringing it down, it's floating on him. The wind's not really played a factor, so it's just his mechanics right now, and he's had a couple interceptions because of that.
So Paulsboro now with a 1st and 10 from its own 48. 4:30 left in the third quarter. Woodbury leading 13-10. Play action. Burgess with the first down right in front of Everett, and he'll go down to close to the 36-yard line.
See, there you have it's a real good contrast. You saw the last time where Everett just didn't set and throw. That time Funk was able to set and throw, and the ball's a little crisp. You know, it's out of his hands, and it's a nice tight spiral that doesn't float on him.
Gain of 15,
watch
Shawn.
out Funk here. He's able to set, throw, release, terrific pass, great execution, and finds Burgess. I mean, that is textbook when you're talking about a quarterback and the position and how you're able to have that type of technique. That's what you want to see when you're talking about setting and throwing.
Derek Burgess came into this game with 15 receptions on the year, so they've gone to him, and now his brother Shawn gets it close to the 35. First hit by Baston. Gain of 2. So it'll be 2nd and 8 from the 35-yard line. Right, as of now, the Woodbury defense has done a pretty good job containing Shawn Burgess. Although he could break it any time. Funk. And Seeger drops that ball. And it's interesting, they've tried that play. It's almost like that delayed bubble screen that they run with the receivers going across the middle that time.
And the blockers were set up downfield. That play could have gone for some big yardage. He might have peeked a little bit, looked upfield, didn't get the ball into his hands at first. Was the incomplete pass. 3rd and long.
Be 3rd and 8 from the 35-yard line. Funk has a lot of time there. Incomplete.
He had a lot of time, but great coverage downfield by the Woodbury defensive secondary. I mean, that was a really nice job as they had everything covered. Really no place for Funk to go with the football where you found a man downfield open. Stafford was covered in the middle of the field. Both receivers covered on the outside, so a good job by the secondary.
That was Dayon Ayers. He's a sophomore, and I think he's going to be a guy that we're going to hear a lot from. You know, when Everett had leg cramps against West Deptford, Ayers came in and led him to a score. He's a backup quarterback. He does a great job in the secondary. So it'll be 4th and 8 now from the 35. Funk, and that's incomplete, and Woodbury did a good job of not catching that ball anyway.
Well, I think they just didn't catch it. I don't know if he decided not to just, bat it down. It might have been one of those things where, you got to make the mistake. Actually, did they call on the catch? No.
No, it was an incomplete pass on 4th down, so it'll be Woodbury ball going to Stafford, who we know what he could do if they get the ball to him.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, say he didn't catch it intentionally.
Yeah.
And that's a smart play by the defensive back.
1st and 10 Woodbury now from its own 35. Looks like we had a false start on the Thundering Herd. We'll see.
The illegal procedure penalty on the Herd. That'll be costing them 5 yards. Bring up 1st and 15 from their own 30-yard line.
So Everett has thrown 3 interceptions today. 2 picked off by Seeger. Another by Stephen Baylor.
Talk about these teams, Mark. You obviously talk about Group 1, along with Glassboro, who's kind of owned Group 1 over the last few years. But Pennsgrove off to a big start, and they're up 42-0 at the half against Salem.
And I saw Salem against Pennsville earlier. That's a good team. Martin carried, and he was leveled that time by Trey Tarpley. Tarpley, an all-conference performer a year ago, and you could see why. Gain of 4, so it'll be 2nd and 11 from the 34-yard line. think if you're Paulsboro, you're just saying, don't let Woodbury get outside. Averett pitches, and he's going nowhere that time. A tremendous tackle by Derek Burgess coming up.
Burgess made the tackle, but Funk made the play. Funk is going to come up, and he's going to get that penetration on the outside. And once he's able to do that, there's no place for Averett to go with the football. That's what I was talking about, at making sure you get penetration upfield on the ends. That keeps Averett inside the pocket and forces him to get rid of the football. That's a nice job by Funk coming up and making that play. Comes out now, and it's going to be 3rd and long. However, that was a nice play by Funk.
It's like 3rd and 17 from the 28-yard line. If you're Woodbury, I don't think you put it up here, Shawn. Nope. I think Averett's just going to roll out. We'll see. Now he fakes it, and Tarpley made him go inside and then makes the tackle. That is a tremendous defensive play by Trey Tarpley.
And the thing he didn't do was over-pursue the play. Sometimes you see that, especially with the athleticism, when you have somebody like Averett in the backfield. As guys, you know, their natural instincts is going for the football. Excellent job defensively on the last 2 plays by the Paulsboro defense, doing what they need to do. Stay in your lanes, go upfield, and don't allow Averett to get to the outside. You know, I always say this to my kids. It's okay to make a mistake. It's not okay to learn from it. And that's kind of what the Paulsboro defense did there coming out in the second half. They made the mistakes defensively. Woodbury comes down and scores on them. However, they made adjustments there on that possession. What they did was, you know, made sure that they got penetration up into the line of the Woodbury offensive line and pushed upfield from the ends.
By the way, Tarpley came into the game as Paulsboro now takes possession with no return on that punt. 1st and 10 from its own 24-yard line. Tarpley came into the game with 23 tackles in the first 3 games.
This is where Paulsboro, again, the inconsistency on the offensive side, they need to try to establish some type of rhythm.
Not much there.
No, too long to develop. I mean, that play's just not going to work with the job that Woodbury's going to come, with the horses that they bring, especially from that linebacker core. That is, I know, Mark, you've covered Woodbury football for years. Linebacker player for Woodbury has always been something that you had to be impressed with.
We have a flag, and it's going to be a holding call on Paulsboro.
That doesn't help things.
Looked like that hold came at about the 26-yard line, so it'll bring a ball back to the 16. So it'll be 1st and 18 from the 16 here.
At their own 16-yard line.
You see another legend here at Paulsboro, Paul Marina, the principal and also the wrestling coach.
He's won a few wrestling matches over the years, hasn't he?
Couple.
Wow, Paulsboro has to call a timeout here, Shawn, with 25.3 seconds left. You know they don't want to waste one in this situation.
Nope, we have some interesting coaches. Speaking of coaches, an interesting coach on the Paulsboro sideline is Kevin Harvey, who had an unbelievable career, maybe the best, greatest career in high school in New Jersey. I mean, you'd have to at least argue it.
Well, when they talk about best players in South Jersey history, I think everyone gets behind him. I mean, as a high school player.
How could you not? I mean,
4 years, all the records that he set, and you know, Paulsboro won 4 straight sectional titles. The long winning streak. I mean,
they sold some hot dogs and hamburgers back then because there was
I
mean, there were so many people that would come and just watch him play. I mean, he was fantastic. On the opposite sideline, Mark, is Jimmer Bundy. And it's probably a name that you recall. Jimmer was the big guy. I mean,
I
mean, you've seen that. You know, again, you talk about the linebackers, but also Woodbury known for that big fullback that's going to punish runners. And Jimmer Bundy was the poster child for that. I mean, he was such a bruising fullback.
And that ball is deflected that time.
Bundy was heavily recruited, went to Pitt. And Harvey went to, eventually went to Temple.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been at one point, I think he was fourth in the country in interceptions.
Yeah, Harvey. And people forget, too, what a great basketball player Kevin Harvey was as well. It's one of the true all-timers in South Jersey.
If I'm not mistaken, he did take them to a state title in basketball as well.
Funk again looking for Derek Burgess, and he catches the ball up near the 30-yard line. Some pleasantries exchanged between these two teams as Ty Brown makes the tackle.
This game just heated up a little bit. You kind of saw us kind of lethargic in the third quarter, and Woodbury taking advantage of that, taking the lead. But now, a little bit of spark at the end of this quarter.
And that's it. As we'll head into the fourth quarter, your score is Woodbury 13 and Paulsboro 10. And welcome back. There you see your score, as Paulsboro will have a 3rd and 4 from the 30-yard line, trailing 13-10. Funk overthrown that time.
You see there his arm strength, though. I mean, Funk has a good arm. He's able to get that ball out there. So that's one of the things that you've seen from Paulsboro with a little bit of success, although they're going to have to punt here, is Funk starting to find a little bit of a rhythm in the passing game. He's completed a couple nice passes over the middle of the field. If he's able to get enough time, he might be able to connect here in the fourth quarter with a couple of guys and get this offense going.
4th and 4 from the 30. Again, the last 2 times Woodbury has had a tremendous rush on Macarone. He's had to get the ball off quickly. Another pretty good rush that time as well.
It's a good punt, though. This was a good punt.
And Stafford will down it at about the 37-yard line.
Hey, Pensgrove, huh? Big win against Glassboro. They look like they could be a force to be reckoned with here in Group 1.
Hey, how about Corey Clement? 476 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he only had 14 carries against Gloucester last night. I think Glassboro, Glassboro peaked last year at the right time. And I think anybody would be unwise to count the Bulldogs out of things.
No.
There's no question about it. So Woodbury now, 1st and 10 from the 37. Martin cuts back, and he is greeted by Julian Davenport.
Wasn't a pleasant greeting either.
Oh, that hurt from up here, Shawn.
It did.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8 from the 39. You know what's amazing? We talk about how good of tacklers these guys are. Also how they've stayed in their lanes. That time you saw Davenport doing that. It's no accident that these two teams are, perennial contenders with the coaching staffs they have here. Up the middle, Ty Brown, and we haven't seen Ty Brown that much.
There's a flag down, but that was a good, tough run by Brown.
He gets the ball across the first down marker, and we'll see. He got the ball about the 48-yard line. Paulsboro's cheering, so...
Illegal shift.
Another illegal shift. So that should make it 2nd and 13 from the 34-yard line.
I love the attitude of Zach Valentine. He typically doesn't really get in his players' faces too much and get real angry, show a lot of emotion on the sideline where it's, directed at one particular individual. And he kind of coaches through encouragement. And I'm sure he has his moments, but you know, I've stood next to him a few times. He just kind of has this calming attitude, and I think that really resonates to his team, especially here in the fourth quarter.
Averett. Stafford had him pinned up, but he got outside. Averett across midfield. He gets the first down. And another great run that time, as again, Stafford looked like he had him pinned in, and then Averett juked and went outside, out to about the 48-yard line of Paulsboro. That's a gain of 18.
I'm going to give some love to the big guys, you know, because we talk about Averett, but Jaleel Robinson's having a heck of a game, number 66. Try to look for him here, and also Belko on the right side of this offensive line. Watch number 66, Robinson come out and pull. And he's just going to, you're not going to be able to see him here, but he's going to get a little block there to see off that edge and allow that Paulsboro defensive end to not get to the outside. And that made that play go for big yardage.
Brown up the middle, and once again he's met by Mr. Davenport, who you highlighted in the pregame, and for good reason.
And Big D, he's just a space eater. I mean, he's going to take up a ton of space. It's hard to move him. I mean, think about trying to push that guy around. Just his leg strength itself, not even talking about his upper body. He's got some big trunks, man. You can't push those things around. You can't move him where you want him to go. And he's just going to allow the other defenders as well around him to make plays.
2-yard gain, 2nd and 8 from the 46. And by the way, that shows how strong Brown is, because he looked initially stopped. He was still able to get 2 yards. Martin on the pitch. Martin across the 40. It looks like he has another first down for Paulsboro, or for Woodbury.
Right now, this game in the second half is coming down to who's going to block and tackle better than the other team. Right now, Woodbury is out-blocking Paulsboro. Paulsboro is on the offensive side of the ball. They're just not blocking well. And Woodbury has done a very good job here in the second half of blocking.
Gain of 9, 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Thundering Herd up by 3. Looking to get that insurance score. Averett, he keeps it. And a nice job again by Burgess. Derek Burgess getting in there. That'll be a loss of 1 that time, so it'll be 2nd and 11 from the 38.
Yeah, sometimes it's almost like a chess match, Mark, where the coach will make an adjustment, even during, not just at half, but during in each possession. And right now, the defense for Paulsboro has made the adjustment where they're pushing upfield. Now it's time for Woodbury to make the adjustment in their play calling.
Derek Burgess is, I think, one of the top strong safeties we've seen this year. He's made a lot of plays from the secondary today. Yeah, delay a game, is it? We have a flag?
Yeah, delay game.
So Woodbury has been plagued by a lot of these penalties. Second and 16 from the 43. Derek Burgess came into the game with 16 tackles. He's made a lot of big plays here today. Tell you one thing about both of these teams. One reason why I think they're going to be around late November and maybe into December is because of their defenses, both of them. Averett trying to go left. Averett past the original line, and he's still going. Anthony Averett well past the first down and finally taken down by Derek Burgess, or he may have been home at around the 5-yard line.
Take a look at the blocking here again. Outstanding job of just coming and sealing the edge. Nice job by the Woodbury offensive line for giving Averett a huge hole to run through. And once he has that crease, he's gone. You're not able to adjust to Averett. He just will pick that crease, find it, and exploit it. And you got to hand it to the offensive line for Woodbury right now doing their job up front.
38-yard gain, 1st and goal from the 5. Martin gets really close to the goal line. Might be around the 1.
Good for 4 yards.
Yeah, the clock's still moving. I mean, this is a good drive for Woodbury. If they're able to punch it in here, that really puts Paulsboro at a deficit because the offense for the Red Raiders has not shown that it can move the ball with any regularity.
2nd and goal from the 1. Averett. Touchdown. Averett waited a little, went around that left side.
Yeah, patience by Averett, setting up the blocks, and he's just going to lower his helmet and throw himself into the end zone. Nice job by Averett, but outstanding possession for the offensive line for the Herd.
His 3rd touchdown of the day as Denby tries to tack on the conversion kick, and that's good. So with 6:39 left here in the 4th quarter, it is now Woodbury 20, Paulsboro 10.
This is an offensive line that had to replace 3 starters from last year, and they're doing a good job. You can see, look at the push. Look at the push by that offensive line, and that's not only the work of these guys in game, but also the work during the offseason. You have to put in work in the weight room and being able to get that push. You see that Woodbury has done that, and I'm not saying Paulsboro hasn't. It's clear that Woodbury has. I mean, they have done an outstanding job not only blocking, but moving, using their feet to get to the outside, to seal off an edge, to seal off a wide receiver, to hit a linebacker. The tight ends have done a nice job of getting that initial push on the defensive ends, and it's all working for Woodbury in the second half.
10-play, 63-yard drive. The big one was the 38-yard run by Averett to the 5-yard line.
And the only mistakes you've seen really is just the penalties and a couple of mistakes by Averett in the passing game where he just didn't set his feet. I'm sure he'd love to have those passes back because he just kind of floated them a little bit. And he's done certainly what's necessary with running the football and making good decisions there.
Paulsboro will not get very much for Keem Smith that time. Unofficially, I have Averett over 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, right now Paulsboro down by 10 points, not the spot you want to be in with 6:34 left in the 4th quarter. But the one thing that has worked for Paulsboro has been able to throw the football with Funk. So Funk now in the position where you got to move the ball a little bit quicker through the air, and they haven't had success running the football. So now Funk will come out and try to engineer a quick scoring drive, and they'll probably have to throw the ball up a little bit more than what Paulsboro came in with its game plan. But that's been working for the Red Raiders today, is being able to throw the football.
We're told that Averett has 221 yards rushing. 1st and 10 from the 34. Remember, Stafford has been open at times. Funk scrambling, and he'll just go out of bounds over the 35-yard line.
I might add that's from that Wes Zaffron, who's from the South Jersey Times, which will be the Zaffron? Zaffron? All right, whatever. Be a wise guy with me. We got your name in there. So Wes, who's one of my, I can say this because Wes is one of my employees that I work with.
Well, we thank Wes for that. I can't quite add him as I'm going along, but I knew it was over 200, and quite a day on the ground. But Paulsboro now faces a 2nd and 9 from the 35, and the clock's obviously a major factor here. Funk, and he does complete it for the 1st down that time to number 13, the sophomore, Theo Holloway.
Right, that wasn't a perfect pass, and Holloway does a nice job of just making sure he catches the football. Nobody around him. He wanted to make sure he's able to get that football because it wasn't the most perfect pass by Funk. Nice job by the young receiver.
Gain of 11, 1st and 10 from the 46. Well, that's a tough throw that time as Funk was looking for Seeger on that deep out pattern.
Yeah, I mean, you can see his arm strength, though, Mark, 'cause he was able to zip it out there. I saw that during the pregame where Funk has a real nice arm. He has a tight spiral. He doesn't float the ball much. Good footwork. So he has a chance to at least with 6:12 left try to move the football through the air. Again, Woodbury going to trying to respond because they've had success over the middle of the field.
Holloway certainly has big play potential. He's wide left. Burgess, wide right. Seeger in the slot. Big rush that time. Again, it's that bubble screen, and Derek Burgess doesn't hang on to it.
Yeah, that's a mistake. Baston was there in coverage for Woodbury. Baston, the 5'10", 175-pound senior on Burgess. That's one Burgess needs to handle. I'm sure he's really angry with himself because the play could have gone for some good yardage. Woodbury biting on that screen.
You know, one thing with the way Woodbury's now rushing the passer for the pass, a play that always works a lot in this situation is a quarterback draw.
There it is.
Again, overthrows that time as Burgess was open. Closest man to him was Devon Ayers.
Yeah, Burgess runs a nice route that time. The ball floats a little bit on Funk. They got to go for it here. 6 minutes left, down by 10. You know that you have Averett and the Woodbury offense that has had success here in the second half. I don't think this is a bad decision at all. I think you have to go for it here.
And we haven't seen the Shawn Burgess in this series. He's had that leg problem or whatever, and that throw is incomplete again as he was trying to hit Derek Burgess. And give Devon Ayers credit being right there. This is a heck of a Woodbury secondary.
You know, he really didn't have a whole lot of places to go with the football there. Funk and just the Woodbury defense, the execution has been more crisp here in the second half for Woodbury. I think that's really been clear. Yeah, and talking about this, Mark, we haven't brought this up. Burgess has done more than an admirable job coming in and as a sophomore running back and trying to do well in the backfield for Paulsboro, and he's done a good job. However, they lost Demir Turner. And Demir Turner was a senior running back coming into this year. They expected big things from him. He got hurt in the scrimmage. Will be lost for the season, which is a shame for that young man. But that was their running back that they were counting on to get a predominant start. And then you add Burgess into the mix. That would have been a really nice backfield, and that hurts your offense. And they've had to try to find ways to make up his loss. And you could see here that they're still stumbling through it.
Timeout now by Paulsboro. By the way, that last play, Grant and Davenport did their best job to bottle up Averett for no gain. But, I mean, if you're looking from a Woodbury perspective, Shawn, and you've thrown 3 interceptions and you still looks like you might get out of here winning this game if things hold. There's still 5:49 left. You never know what happens. But if you're Woodbury and you can somehow get a little consistency with that passing game, then I think this is going to be a team that's going to cause a lot of trouble in Group 1.
Well, you're absolutely right because teams are going to adjust. They're going to make the adjustments on Woodbury. They're going to see this. You have Haddonfield, I know, is in the stands right now looking on at this game, and other teams are going to be looking on. I mean, they're going to be looking on and seeing, what do they have to work with and what they're going to be up against. And with Woodbury, it's pretty simple. Looking at this game, do not allow them to get to the outside. That's where they're going to hurt you, and force Averett maybe to go in 3rd and longs and throw the football.
Well, Martin gets the first down, and he took a lick from Derek Burgess that time, but he does get the first down for Woodbury at about the 33-yard line.
First and 10 for the Herd at the Paulsboro 33-yard line.
21-yard gain that time by Martin. That's the other thing. You know, Woodbury has a lot of other game breakers, too. It's not just Avery.
No, that's right.
Here's Devon. That time is Devon Ayers.
Right, you talked about Ayers, and Ayers is a kid that's going to come in, and he's also a big weapon. So you have Denby, you have Ayers, you have Martin, you have a few people there that really can add to already what Avery gives you. You can see Ayers with kind of a punishing run.
Gained 7 that time, so it's 2nd and 3 from the 26. Avery will keep it. Funk gets the first hit on him, close to the first down. And he does have the first.
Yeah, that's just, it's going to chew up more of the clock. Picking up the first down, you get another set. Mark, I'm impressed with the conditioning of the Woodbury offensive line because they've improved as the game has gone on.
Denby trying to get to the outside, and he gets a nice gain up near about the 16-yard line.
And that's important, Mark. Why is that important when you have the unique conditioning for especially a school like Woodbury or Paulsboro, but especially Woodbury? You look on the opposite sideline, they don't have huge numbers, right? So you have a lot of guys going both ways earlier in the year, especially the heat. Sometimes, and we saw that a few years back, and I'm going a few years as in maybe like 8 to 10. I remember they were playing against West Deptford early in the game. They were able to hang with West Deptford. West Deptford with more bodies and more substitutions. Woodbury was good enough to hang with them talent-wise. So they kind of wore down. You saw them getting more cramps and stuff like that. And you thought to yourself, wow, if they just had a few more other kids where they can, spell them here and there. Woodbury was able to play with West Deptford in that game. This is a similar type of thing where Woodbury, with small numbers, conditioning is that much more important. You don't have guys that you can spell in and out, give a breather to somebody here and there. When you have a small Group 1 school, these guys have to be conditioned well. They have to be prepared to have their bodies ready for the game, so they're not going to cramp up. Remember, that was the whole pickle juice era where guys were taking pickle juice and trying to avoid the cramping. But give Woodbury credit. They've done the job in the offseason.
Martin, as we have a penalty flag down, he has more than enough for a first down, but we have a flag down at about the 15-yard line. That was a 2nd and 4 from the 16. Guess here is that it's coming back. By the way, Denby left the game, and he was walking a little gingerly. You hope he's all right.
Holding call on the Herd.
Holding on Woodbury.
That'll cost Woodbury 10 yards from the spot.
Back to the 25.
It'll bring up 2nd and 13 for the Herd at Paulsboro 25-yard line.
Second and 13 now for Woodbury. 3:52 left here. Thundering Herd up 20-10. Boy, Brown keeps going, doesn't he?
Yeah, Brown is. They have different guys that carry different roles. Brown is that tough guy. He really has established himself as a really tough runner. And he's the type of guy where Paulsboro coming into the game is not just, worried about and concerned with Avery. You always got to worry about this guy because of the way he's able to keep his body moving. And you can see he takes a hit and just spins right off of it and continues, to run and picks up 3, maybe 4 extra yards.
Picked up 10 total. It's 3rd and 3 from the 15. And I think Paulsboro will be aware of Mr. Averett on this play. Nope, it's Martin. Martin going around, gets the first down as he's tackled by Tarpley that time. First and goal from the 8, give him a gain of 7 that time. 2:40 left. Denby, who we said left the game, but he's back. And he was pushed out of bounds that time by Cease.
There's a flag down as well.
I think you got that on replay.
Holding on Woodbury.
Yeah.
So that was a first and goal from the 8. We'll see where the spot of the foul was. Okay, so the hold was from the 5, so the ball's now at the 15. So actually give Denby a gain of 3 on that play. So it'll be first and goal from the 15.
Exactly, man. How camera from now on. I'll do replay.
Yeah, this is a time of game when you have you have a guy like Brown who's just so hard to bring down. Another flag.
You're just looking for a play that's going to just be a high percentage play, just to continue to waste some of that clock.
I can guarantee you that even if Woodbury holds on to win, as it looks like it's going to happen here, Zach Valentine, I'm sure he'll let his team know he wasn't happy about a lot of these penalties here. Yeah,
the penalties certainly have been a concern and would be a concern. As you know, Paulsboro's no slouch. I mean, it's one of the tougher teams you're going to face on your schedule. But to sustain the type of success that you're having in this game, and think that throughout the season you're not going to, the penalties and the turnovers are not going to hurt you. It's going to happen down the line at some point if you continue to do it.
But look at Ty Brown just dragging Paulsboro players for extra yards. He was initially hit that time by Pop Little, who weighs 275, and he just kept carrying that Paulsboro defensive line for a couple of yards. Give him a gain of 3. It'll be second and goal from the 17. 1:53 left. Woodbury certainly skilled at the skill. That looks like an illegal shift there. Yeah, flags are all over the place. We had 2 players moving at the same time, so
that's happened a few
move
times.
Woodbury back another 5.
Well, he's declined.
Oh, decline.
Some of the offensive line, Marquis, Aaron, it's been fantastic. We've mentioned Lorenzo Clark's name I don't know how many times today, Mark. He's really been fabulous. And we talked about Gamble and Brown and Ayers and Denby and, of course, Averett. But some of the linemen, Nazir Harris had a good game as a freshman. I mentioned Robinson a few times today.
You know what's interesting about Lorenzo Clark at 310 pounds? It's only his second year playing organized football. His better days are ahead, and they're pretty good right now. His days are good right now.
Hey, 6'4", 310 pounds. He's a senior. That is going to draw some attention from some colleges because just his size alone is going to get people excited about taking a look from the young man. And if he's already been what he's been able to accomplish so far in 2 years, they start looking at. What can he do with a couple extra years of coaching, and his great size is going to give him some attention.
So it's now 3rd and goal from the 21. Averett in the shotgun to Martin. Look at that tackle by Burgess. Have we seen that constantly today?
Yeah,
one-on-one.
He came to play. I mean, this is his senior season, and he's been fantastic. 6'1", 175 pounds. Defensively, he's been all over the field. And you can tell he's going to take this loss personally as well. I mean, he's a kid that's come to play today and played extremely hard, and it's going to be deflated. I mean, some of these Paulsboro seniors losing to Woodbury in your rivalry game, that carries with you for a few games.
Well,
something they're going to have to shake off.
I think if you're you're right, Shawn. If you're Paulsboro, you're thinking we want them again, and to do that, they've got to proceed, win games, and get to the postseason.
Just how this is going, how this whole series materializes, I think it's going to be real interesting because Group 1 is, in my opinion, it's anybody's game. I don't know who's going to.
Well, I think Pennsgrove, Glassboro. I mean, these two teams. I think Pennsville's going to be there too, and Gloucester has some defensive issues, but offensively, Leon Harris's team can compete with a lot of teams. So I just think it's a very deep Group 1 field, and even you saw like Maple Shade had been undefeated, and Wildwood coming in and doing what they did. So it's a very good Group 1 field.
I think out of the gates, you have to be impressed with what Pennsgrove's done with a big win against Glassboro, and that a big win early in the season, which Woodbury will come off of this, and kind of with a little bit of swag behind them too, with a big win against Paulsboro. But I think the Pennsgrove, you have to be impressed with them beating Glassboro.
Woodbury will turn it over on downs with just 31.6 seconds left. Averett, I think, unofficially at about 227 yards rushing. We're told 230, so 3 touchdowns.
From the West Zaffron, yeah. Only worked with a kid for about a year and a half. I can't get his name right.
How about him giving his boss a little whip about it?
I can start cracking the whip in there. These guys, they must think I'm soft.
And Funk is taken down, and it's been a tremendous defensive effort by this Woodbury team. And we've mentioned Cameron Gamble so much, and he's had such a big game. 10 seconds and counting. If
I'm not mistaken, I believe Max is.
Wow, what a catch that time by Burgess. A leaping catch as time runs out.
You got to applaud the effort by Burgess to end this one. I mean, the kid played his heart out, but Woodbury just played together as a team. It was very impressive. I was just saying, I think Max Belko might have been injured the late stages of this game, and he's being attended to on the sideline. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as the season goes on, because he's certainly a huge factor, and I do believe that's him on the sideline. I don't want to misidentify somebody, but I believe that's him.
Well, Belko is one of the premier. Actually, that's number 55. So that wouldn't be Belko. That would be Marquis Sarin.
5'9", 243. My mistake on misidentifying the player, but either one, he's the center, I believe, for this team, and did a fabulous job. Woodbury made adjustments at halftime, and I think they did extremely well. They started off the game losing the first possession, first play of the game for Woodbury. They make the mistake with the fumble, and they able to dig their heels in and only allow the field goal. And other than the mistake on the punt where they run into the kicker and they allow that drive to go, Woodbury's defense was the story here. Woodbury's defense and the blocking and Averett's ability to make a couple of big plays.
Shawn, you correctly pointed out this Woodbury offensive line of Belko, Robinson, Aaron, Harris, and Clark is a really impressive unit today, and has been all season. And you know, Woodbury obviously has great skill position people and guys that can break plays, but that's a heck of an offensive line they have.
Well, that's right. I saw Robinson today with a couple of blocks, and what he was able to do well was really get to the outside. You saw, again, the conditioning. These guys were still sprinting to the outside and beating Paulsboro, the Paulsboro linebackers there. When you have guys doing that, you're going to do extremely well, and they were able to. You know, Woodbury, the offensive line really deserves a great deal of credit today. You're going to see Avert with over 200 yards. His name's going to be in the headlines and all our papers, right? But really, the offensive line deserves a lot of credit, and I know internally Zach Valentine will certainly give the props to the linemen once they're looking at film. Conversely, for Paulsboro, I mean, you have to be concerned. There's, you know, they against some of the inferior opponents in their division, they're going to do well. Against some of the better defenses, we saw that against Sterling. They jumped out to the 10-0 lead. They were driving and just ran out of time at the end of that game. Here, offensively, you know, aside from a couple of passes by Funk, the offense did not have any consistency. They didn't run the football extremely well. The offensive line didn't do that great of a job opening up holes and giving them position to get some big carries. I'd have some concerns if I was an offensive coach here.
Well, the other thing is, you get a week off to heal some wounds, and then you got to take on a Haddon Heights team that is, you know, gave West Stepford all it could handle, and Woodbury, as you mentioned, gets another week off and then takes on a Haddonfield team that continues to show some improvement after that opening loss to Paulsboro.
And you see, we're up here looking down right now, and we're seeing Deshaun Burgess. That limp is much more noticeable now. I mean, he's having some real problems. So you have your number one back go down in the scrimmage. You have your number two back right now limping back to the huddle here. There's some real concerns here for Paulsboro offensively. But hey, they're Paulsboro. You know, if there's somebody that if I'm going to be in a position where I have a loss and I want a coach to be able to get my team built back up, I'm going Glenn Howard. So, you know, he's the guy that will certainly be able to find some of the holes and patch them up. But Woodbury exploited them today, and it was a terrific win for the Herd program early in the season. We talk about this game being a big one in the division. It is one. And Woodbury came, and I believe everybody saw here today, right now, they're a better team.
Well, there's no question. And if you're Paulsboro, you're just at the stage where you want to get better each week, qualify for the Group 1 playoffs, and you know you never know. And Woodbury just moving along. Certainly, Woodbury has a leg up now in the Colonial Conference Patriot Division by winning today with a 20-10 score over Paulsboro. So that'll wrap it up for Shawn Leary. This is Marc Narducci saying that final score once again: Woodbury 20, Paulsboro 10. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening, everybody.